song for today. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Come on, sound.
Welcome, everybody. How are y'all doing? We are live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Purpose Over Pain podcast. Today we are going to talk about, which I think is a really, really good topic, being that Mother's Day is approaching. I thought let's talk about something that it's in social media. It's on social media every single day. It is literally a Nope. We're not gonna say fuck them kids today. Well, we probably are. It might come up a couple times. But I just bleeped on the mic. I'm sorry. Okay. But anyway, see, that's why you shouldn't be eating and on the mic at the same time. But anyway. So the topic of today, we are talking about baby mama salute. Why did I name it baby mama? Do I have an issue with the term baby mama?
As you should.
No, I don't. Tom said as I should. I don't. I do not have an issue with the term baby mama. I'm going to explain that, but before I do explain that, let's introduce and get into who our guests that we have today. We have some familiars. We got Miss Jessica today again. We got Tiffany, and then we have a new one today, and she is Miss Jazz Valentine. I'm so excited and happy to have Jasmine here today. Me and Jasmine, we grew up in church together. Providence Baptist Church.
Hampton.
Hampton or Capital?
19th and Hampton.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original.
We played them in the championship back in the day.
They moved over to, what was we at? We was on Hampton. Then we moved to 84th.
Right off Capital.
Right off Capital. Yep. So, Heavenly Host Choir, all of that good stuff. Yes. So before we start, because I may get excited, I may forget, because this is a baby mama salute. And I don't care what y'all say. I don't have an issue with the term baby mama. Again, I'm gonna explain that. But I came bearing gifts. I did. So, and this is just as a token of my appreciation.
Thank you. Pass it down. Okay.
Look at you.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Should we open it now?
You can open it now if you want to. You don't have to. So happy Mother's Day, ladies. You are welcome. Yeah, so I wanted to just show you ladies just some love. I know we all the time we big up each other and we say thank you. But I just wanted to, just a personal from me to you all that, I see y'all, I see the mothers that y'all are. And we keep doing it. Thank you. Thank you.
You know your baby girl is my boo.
And killing the game. She's been raised well. So
yes,
that's testament to you.
So let's talk about, first off, baby mama. So when we talk about, or when we think about the term baby mama, and I was talking to my dad yesterday, and I was telling him about the topic of the show, and and when I said baby mama, he's like, "Oh Lord, oh Lord, baby mama." And I said, "No," I said, now it depends on the tone in which you say it to me, because I have had to check somebody about calling me baby mama. But for me, baby mama is more so a strength, because I think that as women and as single mothers, we go through so much, and so for me, no, it's not a term of endearment. No, I don't go around calling people baby mama or nothing like that. But I think when in my mind's eye, when I hear or when I think of myself as a baby mama, And I think that comes when you have to be like, you have to become okay with yourself. And because, okay, so I have 4 kids. Um, 4 kids, 3 dads. Ooh. Because like I heard so many times, oh, you got so many kids, ain't no boy, ain't no nigga gonna want you, blase skip, that's a lie. But at the same time, definitely a lie. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're supposed to be like, okay, that's cool.
Exactly. You can have multiple baby, and so for me it was because my first 3 children are basically back to back. I was pregnant for 3 years, as I like to say. And so, for me, it was kind of, being raised in the church and, in a Christian household, it's, you don't have sex. You don't, you don't participate in that. So there was a little bit of shame that came to me, even though when I had my first child, I was 24, 5 days from, but it was the fact that I was not married that for me there was, oh shit, and I know there were folks that were still, oh, she got all them kids, because people said it in a plain, a plain way. You know what I mean? You got all them kids. When you gonna stop having kids? When you get the fuck out my business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And so for me, it became a situation where I had to be okay with, I got 4 kids and I got 3 baby daddies, and it is what the fuck it is. But at the end of the day, I see strength in what I have been through. Anybody want to touch on that a little bit?
So I definitely agree. So like when you said that you look at it as, okay, baby mama, like that's, listen, it's not necessarily a term of endearment, but it is what it is, and so I was really young when I had my kids. I was 18 when I had my daughter. I was 19 when I had my son. I got pregnant with my son when my daughter was 8 months old. Okay. So I was 19 with 2 kids, 17 months apart. Okay. Same baby daddy, but young, didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And then just like you said, okay, you may have gotten, the stigma of, oh, 3, who are, what people would ask me flat out, do they have the same dad? And it's just
child, I remember I remember this man said to me, he said, are those all yours? Y'all, and I was, I was 20 something. I went off. Yeah. Who you talking to?
First of all, those like we not these not animals. These not what we doing. And if they are all mine, what are you? Are you about to help me with something? A bill? You finna go buy? Like what's the what? Why we just in the business?
But why are they so upset?
And that's the thing to me.
It's like I had my first baby at 28, but it's because I had nieces and nephews and other people watching their kids. And it's like, I don't want no kids.
Right.
And honestly, when I got pregnant, I felt like an after school special, and I was 28.
But
because this wasn't the ideal situation for me. Not what I thought. Like I said, growing up in church, people being married, I thought I was gonna have that fairy tale husband, kids, house, career, boom. And it definitely didn't go like that. So yeah, I became a baby mama.
Yeah,
it wasn't a term of endearment. It was like, oh, you got a baby daddy.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And I think, a lot of people think that, that the majority of us, and I'm gonna let you chime in, but I think that a lot of people think that the majority of us are walking around like we have this this crown on our head and I'm a baby mama, and it's no, like that's not what it is. And then the stereotypes that lead to what a baby mama are, really honestly, I think it's very it's not as what do you call it? It's not as common as you think. Because a lot of baby mamas, we don't even want y'all no more. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we didn't want y'all to begin with.
Well, I did. I ain't gonna lie like that, because I did. I wanted all 3 of them. Okay, come here. But go ahead, Jess.
Well, I have 6 kids. I had my first when I was 19. 6 kids, 5 different baby daddies. At the time, I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't care, but I ain't give a fuck who I had kids, but I just knew I wanted kids. Right?
It was for the kids.
Baby mama, I get mad when people call me a baby mama because I feel like a baby mama is a girl with kids, but she don't do what she's supposed to do. Like I'm not nobody baby mama. I'm the mother of your child. Like baby mama, you call me that, you didn't cuss out. Because I earned the title to be the mother of your child. So,
And I think that that's definitely a good everybody has their own opinion and their own take on it. Because it has been so much of a negative connotation. What I would like to do more so is to change the narrative
of how we look at it.
Exactly. Because for me, of course, everything is the title of the show, purpose over pain. So for me, being a baby mama is simply I'm taking care of my kids. I'm not like my dad said yesterday. He said, but you're not the common baby mama.
And I don't think
You're
none
not
of
the
us
common
are
baby mama.
but
You know what I'm
get that
saying?
title,
You handle your business. You take care of your kids, and not to say that we're perfect. Not to say we're perfect, because these last 2 weeks, y'all. Woo! Okay. When I tell you I have not had some weeks to kick my ass like these last 2 weeks, I'm talking about crying. Okay. I had a rough ass 2 weeks. They talk about the kids' dads and things like that. And I think that in accordance to a baby mama, just a little bit more background. All three of my children's fathers do not live in the city. Okay. So what does that mean for me? That means for me that I solely take care of my children 365 days out the year.
Did they live here at one point?
They lived here at one point. And people laugh and they be like, damn, well, what the fuck you do to them? Nothing at all.
By the time that they left, you didn't even want them.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, here's the thing. I don't subscribe to that activity. When I had my children, and their fathers, we didn't work. We just didn't work. Right. One thing for me is that I did not grow up in a household of yelling. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. Oh damn, mom and daddy arguing again. Not saying it didn't know shit happen, right? Because shit happened. But people dealt with it and they parted ways. You know what I'm saying?
Like, even growing up, because most of us, we're probably the same age, things were held differently in households. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know when our parents got their taxes. Right. I didn't know about taxes until I got grown. Like, got a job.
Didn't know nothing about taxes.
Nothing about a child support card, nothing about a child support check, none of that stuff.
House and everything.
But now it's like kids know, Mom, you get some taxes back? Yeah. I need my child support card. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
They all in grown folks' business.
Right.
So I think that this generation, the kids that we're raising are totally different from us. And that baby mama stigma is that every baby mama is crazy, or every baby mama wants their baby daddy. And I feel like when you have a baby with somebody and it don't work out, that's just what it is. It didn't work out. You moved on, I moved on. Take care of your kid.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, the kids are the people that suffer. If I move on to another relationship, you move on to another relationship, we still got the same kid. And they're going to see everything that we do or don't do.
Absolutely.
It can't be a blame game.
Absolutely. And I think that, a lot of times, and I don't want it to be, a pit, the dads against the moms and things like that. But again, for me, like these last 2 weeks, like I've really, and I don't try to get into that space where I'm upset with them, or, even I've just come to the realization, and that was one thing that I had to do as well, is that I've had to come to the realization that, you know what, I'm not finna ask you for nothing. I had one where I couldn't ask for anything because it was as though I'm asking for your money for myself. You know what I'm saying? And so then every time it would be an argument. That's okay.
Drains you.
Yeah, and
you already
yeah,
taking care of a
exactly.
kid,
Exactly.
and anything that you ask somebody for that shares a kid with you, it's either should be like, I can't do it right now, I can get it to you, but it should never be like you feeling like I'm sweating you about something about your kid.
Right.
So
And that's
I definitely feel you on that.
Exactly. And for
my
me,
baby 14. So.
Exactly. It's like I'm not finna keep asking you for something, and I just don't do that with nobody. Yeah,
at the end of the day,
that's the thing. We figure it out. Yeah. We fucking figure it out. I think I said that to my sister probably like 10 times in that same manner. We fucking figure it out, because that's literally what I've been going through for the last 2 weeks.
Because what is our choice?
Exactly.
Right. I'm my baby's sole provider. So if I tell her I don't have it,
it's like, what's she gonna do? Not go, not get it, not do it.
I'm gonna get it.
Right.
It is what it is.
So
we figure it out.
How do y'all feel about those comments where they say we should have chose better?
I hate it.
Go ahead, Jazz.
I hate it.
My response: no, bitch. You should have kept your dick in your pants. But all 5 of you, sorry,
come speak up to your mic.
Better my ass. The little 3 minutes that we spent. It's here now and it's gone. But no, bitch. No.
I always feel like it's a mutual thing. I could have chose better. He could have chose better. But we made a decision to be intimate, and everybody knows what comes with that. Because you could have gave me something, I could have gave you something,
right?
And it wouldn't have been a baby,
right?
And then what,
right? And absolutely, I think that people, when people make those comments, I really try not to even pay attention to it, because I think that those type of comments are really honestly coming out of a space of hurt for themselves.
Yeah.
And they like, oh, you're always talking about somebody hurt. No, because you're fucking hurt. But it comes
to therapy.
Yeah, it comes out of a space of hurt. Because like you said, we both chose each other. Every scenario and every situation where a mother and a father do not work, every scenario is not a bad scenario. Every scenario is not a scenario where we got into it, he was cheating on me, he did this, he did that, she did this. No, it was just probably we just didn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We just didn't work. So me choosing better, it is not even this doesn't even have anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? It's and then on top of that, people change.
Yeah.
People absolutely change. So you mean to tell me you would rather me stay with a man who is going upside my head? And that was, because I'm very transparent. That was a situation with my first kid's dad. And when we broke up, you're not going to put your hands on me. That is, and now I have a child. Absolutely not. You are not going to put your hands on me. So you, sir, can go on and you can be dismissed. I'm quick with the draw.
Right.
I'm quick with the draw. I you know what I'm saying? Now I be loving these niggas. See my face? I'm confused and shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm quick with the draw. And I think the difference is because for me, my children, I'm not going to allow my children to see me in a situation like that, and they in turn be hurt as well.
Facts. Because at the end of the day, you have to realize that when you become a mother, like I said, I became a mother at 28, and my daughter was born with sickle cell. So being a single mother, a first-time mother of a sick child with no help other than my family, but I'm supposed to be cordial, nice, speak to you nicely, and deal with your lies and your BS. Why?
And
your child is your child. Right? No matter how
has
you feel
nothing
about
to
me.
do. Right. Exactly.
And when you sit down and tell somebody, like, listen, I don't want you. I don't need you. But this child that I have is going to need you.
Absolutely.
There should be no disconnect.
Right.
Right there, I'm telling you. Live your life. Be with whoever. but
What
this
up,
child
Dino?
needs you,
Right.
and you still don't get it. Mentally, something is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you got these cheerleaders in your background, your family, who feel like, oh, it's every baby mama, but you on baby mama number 3.
Yeah.
And all of us are saying the same thing.
Yeah. And
so,
and
bro,
right.
you the problem.
And that's
baby mama or not.
And my sister said, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have let them shoot up the club. I don't regret my children though. Absolutely.
Facts.
You know, I definitely right, exactly. You live and you learn, and you know, hopefully you don't make the same mistake, you know, one too many times.
No, because I feel like the first time it's a mistake. The second time it's a decision.
Well, shit. I made
three
goddamn decisions. 4 goddamn decisions.
But you were in relationships with your baby daddies, correct?
No.
Not all of them?
No. Well, don't smoke and fuck, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't drink.
Don't smoke and fuck. No, but for real. So the first one we were in a relationship with together. The last 2, I call them my oops. But I love them. You know, like, again, you know, I would not try, and I say my oops because I did not intend on having 2 additional children, and I was on birth control, so that's why. Okay. I don't want nobody to misconstrue. Oh, you did it. No. So that's why I say, you know, that. But no. But even still, you know, even with the situation with number 2, daddy, who's number 3 child, with that situation with him, that was a situation where I definitely probably could have chosen better. You know, I was just looking at the exterior. You know, I didn't see the part that, you know, folks was an asshole, like, for real. You know, the whole time I was pregnant, it was, oh, that ain't my baby.
Story of my life.
Yeah, like, no, sir, this is yours. This is yours. I can tell you the date and the time and the month.
But this is the thing. Why do you think out of all the people in the world, I would choose you?
That part.
Because me and you, okay. Same thing.
Jazz, thank you so much for joining us. She told me ahead of time that she actually had to leave early. Love you.
Nice meeting you.
She did tell me that she had to leave early. So I definitely.
Mama job ain't never done.
Right. Mama job ain't, and that's exactly what I think I told her. Mama job is never done. But the situation, you know, with me and him, it was hell. And that was one of the situations that actually shaped the way that I deal with men. Not necessarily men, but the way that I deal with, or that I have the stance on baby mama, and being called baby mama, and just trying to change that narrative, because you know, he was the one, oh, ain't nobody gonna want you. You know, you got so many kids, ain't nobody gonna want you. And you know, it was
for yourself. You can't speak for people.
Yeah. And it was a lot of you know, it was a lot of things that were said that I literally just had to, you know, and so because of that, you know, or like, you know, when you ask somebody, you know, I have you know, 4 kids, 3 baby daddies. You know, if I say to somebody, you know, back then, if I would say to somebody, oh, I need some help, can you give me some help? You know, the first thing that somebody would say, and I'm not even talking about exactly, and I'm not even talking about friends. I'm talking about family, folks that be sitting up in church. The very first thing, exactly, the very first thing that they would say out their mouth would be, where they daddies at.
Like, if their daddy was present and doing what they're supposed to do you think?
Right.
I would you about.
Come on.
Right. Put your mic up so we can hear you. You know, you always do that. But yeah, it's like, you know, and that in itself, that's changing the narrative. You know, that in itself is discouraging. Mm-hmm. It absolutely, you know, could you imagine? And Jazz is going now. But could you imagine having, and even myself, like what I felt like, or what that felt like when somebody who was supposed to be helping me, or if I'm sitting somewhere in a group of people, and I don't even want to talk about like get into the whole religion and all of that, because I have various stances on that, and what you're not gonna do is disrespect my God. But you have people that are in certain positions, and they abuse those positions because they think they're so high, and
That
then
judgment
and that judgment is what kills a lot of us
Yep.
on the inside, and nobody seems to understand that.
for years.
No, for
And
years. And it's still going
Yep.
on to this day.
Yep.
Still going on to this day. I don't know how many times, I don't care if I walked up in church, and I'm speaking mainly of church because that's what I know.
Right.
That's what I know. But I don't know how many times I've walked up in church, and instead of somebody pulling me inside and saying, "Hey baby, do you need some help? Do you need a babysitter? Do you need this? Do you need that?" There were so many looks. And again, I was grown.
Or you're doing
I
a
was-
great job.
yeah,
By
or you-
yourself with
exactly.
your 3 little young babies.
Exactly.
And you're coming to church
Exactly.
every Sunday
Exactly.
with your baby.
Exactly. And there were so many looks, and so many, I don't care how clean my kids was. I don't care how well behaved my kids were. There were always looks. Oh, she got so many kids, and blase skip, and even like with my sister, and my sister has 5. We came back, and I'm just gonna put that shit out there, and I don't give a fuck at this point. We came back Pastor Games funeral. Now, mind you, we've been going to this church since we were children, okay? And we are now in our 30s. And people are still walking up to us and saying, "How many kids you
Oh my God.
got?" Do you know how that makes somebody feel? And at this point now, I'm grown. So now I want to cuss your ass out,
Right.
because
you
now
deserve
you're
it,
being
though.
exactly, and now you're being
Because
disrespectful.
what's going on in your household that I don't know about?
Exactly.
And
Have
they're
you
not
been
small,
getting
and
all
you're
your
not
life?
taking
You can
care of
see
them.
mine.
So like, what? They're not taken care of.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like
what?
you can judge me because you can see what I did, because I like fucking.
Right.
But my kids are always taken
You
care
know,
of.
you can see mine, but I can't see yours. I can't see that your husband is cheating. I can't see that your husband is beating your ass. I can't see that
He
you
like
I can't see
probably-
all the skeletons
Yeah.
in your closet.
Your
Exactly.
husband like
You know what I'm
pee.
saying? And so I think that there is definitely a narrative that needs to change. Chrissy said, let's talk about how women are criticized more in general because we actually push the kids out. If men could have the babies, boy, would the tables turn. They can have kids out here and not even know. Women cannot. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so Barbara said that may be something that will never change. Folk will always be folk. The biggest sin was fornication. And I absolutely understand that, Barbara, and I get that.
But if I get married tomorrow and I
but-
still have 5 kids, people are still judging you.
Exactly.
She got 5 kids,
Right.
but I have a husband.
Right.
As long as you have a husband, you good.
Right.
But if you ain't got a husband, you ain't
Exactly.
good.
But y'all don't know that I got a husband that's beating my ass. I got a husband that's cheating on me left and right. I got a husband that's molesting my kid. But y'all want me to stay with my husband because I got kids. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
But even in slavery days,
Yeah.
they had
Yeah.
babies and the men were not in the household. And women took care of these kids, 13, 14 kids.
Exactly.
You tripping on my 3?
And yeah, and fornication, being the biggest sin. Okay. But everybody's fucking. And if you can be quite honest, I think everybody should bust a nut every now and again.
And they'd be a lot happier.
Right.
Bust a nut, smoke you some weed, and drink
Eat
you
an
a little
edible.
liquor, and loosen the hell up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because what's happening is that when we, and I said I didn't want to do this, but when we get to when we get to talking about what's going on in the church, you all are pushing people away. that really needs to be loved.
And love
you all are and you all are pushing people away because of what you can outwardly see as a sin, and not acknowledging the hurt that is causing that sin to happen. Why?
But Jesus kicked it with people that was doing way worse stuff.
Exactly.
He wasn't judging them. So who is you to judge me?
Exactly. So why? So for me, and then you try to get people to come to church. And for me, this is a thing, because I really haven't I haven't went to church since Glenn passed away. And that's just that's my whole grief process. I'm not, I can't. And so, but for me, I would much rather, and yes, I grew up in the church. I understand the church. I understand how the church works. You be around people with like minds. I get all of that.
But you're also around people who are judging you,
right?
Talking about you and making you feel bad about the decisions that you have made.
Exactly.
And you don't know what's going on in their household.
Exactly.
Right.
And so my thing is that I would rather for somebody to see the God in me, and to see the light within me and my actions,
and through your kids,
and my kids, and who, how I deal with people and my moral character, as opposed to saying, yes, she go to church every Sunday, she's sitting up in the pews every Sunday. Because what is that doing? That's doing absolutely nothing for, I'd rather be sitting on this podcast a little tipsy, drink, you know what I'm saying, talking and possibly inspiring somebody that's gone through the same type of shit as a baby mama that I've been through.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? I've had
because somebody is listening to that and saying, you know what? That was me.
Yeah.
And look at her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been on food stamps. I've had to call, energy assistance. As a matter of fact, every year I call energy assistance. I don't give a damn if my bill is paid. Guess who's calling?
They're not giving any money out.
All right.
You make too much.
Okay.
But I still want to see if I can get some.
I still try. Just like when I get that food stamp card and I still call. What's my balance?
It's the memories for us. It's the memories of when we did get food stamps, because I'll be looking for questions all the time.
Right. But no, but I really think I think that as women, as baby mothers, as mothers, we deserve a lot of Chrissy, are you even in the city? Well, you know what? Actually, we can have you. I forgot Tone did say that. So I definitely will be reaching out to you, Chrissy. But yeah, she says she married with her pregnant with her sixth child, and she still get judged. And I know you do.
Yeah.
And I know you do.
Because it ain't good enough for them.
Yeah, and it's like, a very unfortunate situation that we are, and this may be something that our elders need to be listening to.
Yeah.
Because instead of like you all are not like, I want to be the type of old lady that somebody that's my age now, if I'm 80 years old, I want a 40-year-old to be able to come to me and talk to me and say, you know what I'm saying?
Or
hey,
a 20-year-old.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Say whoever, you know what I'm saying? And say, what can I get from what you've been through? You know what I'm saying? What type of experiences have you been through? And I feel like
if they come to you, they're going to be judged.
Right.
Because that's why they ain't coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had these, and like you said, church. Y'all had these churches, and you have these women who do not pour into these younger women and tell them it's okay that you had a baby out of wedlock. It's okay that you're raising this baby by yourself. But make sure that you stay faithful to what you believe.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to need some help.
Right.
You're going to need some prayer.
Yeah.
You're going to need some people to speak positivity into your life, because kids are hard. It's hard to be a mother. You don't get a parenting handbook when you have a baby at the hospital. They give you everything but a parenting handbook and say, hey, This is your baby.
Listen.
You have to raise this
Take
baby.
this home.
Yes.
The crying, the
Yes.
hospital visits,
Yes.
the school plays that you can't make because you got to go to work. You know, the nights that you said like 2 weeks you was crying.
Yep.
The days where you crying
Yep.
because you don't know what you gonna do
Yep.
about your kid behavior,
Yep.
grades, being bullied,
And
feeling
it
bad about
doesn't-
themselves.
And it doesn't
Mama
get easier.
got to do it.
It doesn't get easier.
Mhm.
I thought, at one point, like, once they get older, it'll be
I feel
so
like
much
it's worse
easier.
now.
It's worse
Yes.
when
Than
they
whenever
older
babies.
because it's different stresses,
Yes.
that come as they older. So like when they're younger, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, they're doing this and during that year they're hyper,
Because you have
but they're
them.
still under
You
my
have
guidance.
them, yeah.
They're still under my
Mhm.
eyesight, my household. I
Mhm.
still have control,
Mhm.
right?
And the biggest
But
thing that you
then-
worry about is school.
Yep, behavior.
Now you
got to
worry about social
behavior.
media,
Exactly.
work,
Driving.
people.
What do you mean they
driving.
out somewhere
Mhm.
and work? You got to get jobs and college
Yes.
and sending them out. So
Yes.
like my kids are 21 and my daughter will be 23 in
Mhm.
July.
See,
So
not
I'm
ready.
I'm at this point where they're about to start flying out of the nest. My daughter is working and she has her job certification and she's working full time and she's talking about apartment searching, and it's just like,
Boom.
wait a minute.
Like just a baby.
I just figured out what to
Mhm.
do with y'all like last week. You know what I mean? So
Not last week.
you know,
just figured this shit
I
out.
just
You
figured this
moving
out.
out
Now you
now?
flying away. Like,
Right.
don't do me like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So and it's odd because you think, oh, when they get this age, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be out of this. When they get this, no, you reach a different stress.
Mhm.
A different stress.
A different stress come with it.
A different stress.
Because my daughter had stuff, my kids had stuff going, dance rehearsal, this and that, and I had to drive, go here, go there.
And
I
what-
can't wait
and
till
you
they
can't
drive. I
say-
can't wait till they driving and on their own. She driving now. I'm scared to death because kid boys and all these other people out in the street.
different
What the
stressors.
hell? You
Yes.
know?
Therapy.
Yes. Yes.
I've been in
It's
therapy
like-
for 2 years.
Ugh,
My kid is in therapy.
it doesn't stop.
It's
Man.
hard
It
to
does
be a
not
parent,
stop.
a mother.
Yeah, it's so hard. And like for me, like I remember when right before Zion actually left to go live with his dad, and like the couple years before that, they were all in 4 different schools. Like literally. And so trying to juggle and try to figure out, okay, well, damn, whose parent teacher conference am I not
Right.
going to? Because somebody is going to miss
Extracurriculars.
out.
I cannot be in
I'm
4
not gonna
places
be
at
able to
one
do
do
all
time.
of this, And even now to the point where it's just like it's a lot, And then some, they'll say, oh well, this is what, and yes, it absolutely is, I love them.
Yes.
I
When trading
they
for
are
the
they are
world.
the closest thing to unconditional love,
Amen.
besides the love that I that my mom has for me. But my children are the closest thing that I have of somebody loving me unconditional. I can yell at Zion, and literally in the next 10 minutes he's gonna come in my room and rub on my arm. Oh, I love you. You're just the most beautiful
Mom,
thing
yep.
ever. And that for me, it means so much more.
Yeah.
It means so much more.
Then the drama, then the tears.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they make it better,
Mhm.
And they don't even know that. Well, I feel like your kids do know when you're going through stuff. Because I used to know when my mom was going through stuff, but my baby used to come and like lay on me, and it used to be like, oh my God, like this is something that you never forget. My baby 14, my baby's taller than me, but I know when she comes and lay on me.
And see,
It's-
you know
it's
what? My
something.
kids are so different. And like my sister's kids, they come and lay on her and do all that, lay in her bed and stuff like that. My kids know. I be trying to hug Brianna. She be like, Mama. Like my daughter is like, no, like don't all of that. But I can get that, now that Zion is back. I can get that,
Right.
he gives me that. And sometimes sometimes too, I just be like, ooh, but then I have to remember, like, no, this is what you were missing. you know. I want to get to some of these comments. Barbara, you said that some of these young ladies hear you but don't listen. They need to be open to hearing and having these difficult conversations, not about judging, just setting the record straight, because 9 times out of 10, they've already been there, done that. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. However,
It's the delivery.
what I will say is that, and me and my sister, we talk about this all the time, is that a lot of times we think that we can, and this is even with your own children. I had this conversation with my son's father today. Not today, but sometime this week it was. But it's the same thing, is that we want to have these hard conversations with people, but we don't even have a relationship in order to have the hard conversation, in order to open the door to have a hard conversation. There's automatically a judgment that's set forth. And then, so if I'm looking at you, I'm coming somewhere, and and let's just take the church out of it. Let's just take the church out. But if I'm looking at you and I'm your mama, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, every single time I say something to you, I am yelling at you. I am there's nothing nice that I'm saying to you. There's nothing positive that I'm saying to you. Everything that you say to me is or everything I say to you is discipline. That's not building a relationship.
Right. You got to come out of love.
You have to come out of love. And even if you right, and you may even come out of love, but if you don't have a relationship with me, you cannot come to me and try to have a hard conversation with me, because you don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know even how to handle me.
Exactly.
Yes. You have to get to know somebody. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Dr. Cornell West said, if you do not love the people, you cannot lead the people.
Absolutely.
Like, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
If you don't even love me, why are you trying to take me anywhere?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's just like
then I feel like it's a conspiracy.
Exactly.
Yes. Like my favorite baby. That's my baby. Glenn's daughter. She just had a baby. She just turned 19. That's that she's not biologically my daughter, but that's my daughter.
Right.
That's my grandbaby. And you know what I told her? I love you. I knew you was pregnant before you told me you was pregnant. She came over the house and she swung around. No, she was coming to do some laundry, and something just told me to turn around. And I was working. This was when my desk was in the living room, and I was working, and I'm talking to her, and I turned my chair around and I looked. I said, "You got something to tell me?" She's like, "No." I said, "Okay." Now, for those that don't know, I am inch high private eye. I notice everything. She had a hospital break. Okay, you ain't got nothing to tell me. Okay, so immediately I text my daughter. I said, but anyway, she ended up telling me, I'm pregnant. I didn't. And the conversation that I had with her, it wasn't a conversation of I'm upset, I'm disappointed. I'm the first thing that I said to her was, I'm going to help you get through this.
Yeah.
And and then once she had the baby, and she called me and we had conversations, and and I said to her, I said, listen, I said, on your birthdays, on Mother's Day, on various holidays like that, bring the baby to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Bring her to me. Because I feel like I'm building. Now, we already have a relationship, right, but we don't have a relationship like that. Right. So I have to build the relationship with her to even talk to her and have a conversation with her. I can't just come out and tell her, don't be fucking and have no more kids. What you think she gonna look at me and say?
Right.
But not only that, to piggyback off what you're saying, I also feel like you being there for her in those moments is showing her that it's no judgment. It's love, and it's unconditional. Because
on those days that you said, Mother's Day, birthdays, when you don't have a babysitter, when you don't have anybody to say, you know what, go enjoy yourself.
Yep.
Do something for yourself, you know, especially as a young mother, because she still has a life. And for you to say on those days, bring the baby to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's showing her that not only do you care, but you respect her enough for her to make her own decisions. And like you said, who am I to say, don't be fucking have no more kids?
Right.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, by any means,
right,
do you. But this is how you set the precedent for that, building that relationship, and for her to be like, you know what, I have somebody that has my back and loves me wholeheartedly. And she's not my mother. So
now mind you, I did tell her, I absolutely told her, you know, don't have no more. That, and you know, but it for me, I have a way that I talk to, you know, the kids. And you know, that's exactly what I said. Don't have no more. Not right now. You know, please, not right now. You know, and she laughed, and you know, but we have that relationship. And my point of saying that is that, you know, again, we want to just always, we want to have difficult conversations with people, and we always just want to, you know, we want to tell people when they're doing wrong, and we want to help people be right, and you know, all of that is fantastic. It's fantastic,
but not if
you cannot do that. It's not even, it's not even, I don't think it's even if you have the same problems, because you know, I'm not perfect, and I go through shit too, you know what I'm saying? But I think that I can still be a example, and I can still be a light to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
No, not like that. But just saying, like, you know, people be like, don't do this, don't do that. But then you've already done it and doing it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, not with you. Like, not that situation.
Yeah.
It's people that will tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that. But you're still doing it.
Yeah.
Right. You shouldn't smoke weed.
Yeah.
But you're smoking weed.
Yeah. And it's like, why? Like, tell me why.
I'm 19 and you're 27.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference?
Right. And I, you know, like when I tell my son, you know, me and him, we had an issue with the smoking weed. And, you know, I even said to him, I said, I can't sit here and tell you not to smoke because, oh, don't smoke weed. I can't tell you that because I smoke.
Right.
However, what I can tell you is that you are too young right now to smoke it because your mind is not functioning and developed the way that it should be. I'm going to give you the why. And I'm going to give you a little bit of education. Why? Don't have sex. Why? I'm not going to just tell you, like my parents told me, don't have sex.
It's bad.
Just don't have sex. It's
just
bad.
Yep.
And guess what? I be fucking like a rabbit. Okay? Nobody told me why.
They didn't give us the why.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The consequence. The fallout.
Right.
The everything.
It was because it was do what I say and not what I do. You know, but for me, you know, because
but at our age, we don't give an explanation. And we don't tell you this was gonna happen because it ain't always sweet.
Absolutely,
some bad things can happen, and I just think that it didn't matter. Like for us, it was like the discipline. Your mama, your grandparents saying something, it's like, man, okay, whatever. And you just didn't go against that,
right?
But these kids gonna definitely try you.
Yeah, the kids will definitely try you. But I think there's also there's a beauty with having children. I read something one day and it said, I gotta sneeze. It didn't say that, but I gotta sneeze. I read something and it said that the more children that a woman has is the more the more children that a woman has, the more she needed unconditional love. And you know, and I was like, damn. And I thought about my soft ass, and I said, well, shit, I needed 4 times, huh? Huh, Lord? I needed that, you know. But then I think about it and I say, you know, getting back to, you know, changing the narrative, and you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, I just think that for me myself, you know, and I think that, you know, as mothers, we should be able to clap for ourselves. Yes. And we should be able to celebrate the triumphs and the good things that have come out of being a mom, being a single mom. I love the fact that can't nobody take credit for my babies. Right. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody take credit for that. That's me. When I look at my daughter, that's me all day long. That's me. I was thinking about, like me and my sister, we were talking. I'm gonna get her on this show all the way from Arizona. I'm gonna get her on this show. But we were talking about
tap in, sis, tap in.
Right. We were talking about how, entrepreneurship has always been in our blood. We've always, even as kids, we've always made money. It's never, we've always done it. And so when I look at my daughter, I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, bam, like, her lip gloss, now her braiding hair, like, she popping, she try, period. Like she's definitely, and I can take credit for that.
She's humble.
Yes.
She's humble. She's respectful. She's very quiet. But I love that in her because she's very prompt. If she late, she gonna discount your service. She gonna let you know. She ain't one of these folks where she playing around with your money. And she only 16, right?
Yep,
That's
just
right.
turned 16.
Just turned 16.
Mm-hmm.
A blessing. She's a blessing because these folks out here that's doing people here is playing games.
Yeah.
And playing.
Yeah. And even with my boys and how respectful they are and and all.
Well, I only seen them twice, but I know that I'm like
and all of them, all of my children, I don't expect for my boys to want to, become business owners and stuff like that. I don't expect that because that's not everybody's judge. Right. That's not for everybody. But just looking at them and seeing how respectful they are and, growing up as young boys, like that's me. I can take the credit for that.
Because they always say women can't raise men.
Yeah, well, you know what? And that's another conversation that I had. I cannot raise a man. I can raise a human. I can raise a human being. I can raise him to be respectful. I can raise him to have moral character. I can raise him to want to treat women right, based off of the way that I treat him and the way that he sees me treat other men. But I myself cannot raise a man. I cannot teach him how to be a man.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how to be a man.
I don't like.
I don't. I don't have nothing hanging between my pants. I don't think like a man. I don't try to think like a man. As a matter of fact, the masculinity that is what deep down inside of me, I try to keep it as far down inside of me as I can. Because I'm very feminine. No, but yeah, but I don't think that I can. And again, that was a conversation that I had today.
Well,
not today, but this week.
But he has an amazing dad, so I don't have
to.
See that,
and that's the thing. Because when you have a son, it's like, okay, you absolutely need that male figure to, and it may seem like when they're young and they love mama and they're mama's boys,
daddy boy.
Because my son was, mama's boy and whatever, and he was, I love my mama when he was little, but then it was obvious, like, okay, he needs that male figure once he got of, 4 or 5, when they start gender identifying. Oh, you look like me. You look like my sister. You do this. You have this part. You do this, and so they start gender identifying.
Right.
How should I carry myself?
Right.
Who do I have in my presence to figure out who do I sit like? And when his dad would come around and he would look at him and he would emulate, oh, you sitting like this? Okay, let me adjust my, and you see it. And they want something to see and emulate and follow.
Right.
Exactly. And so it's really hard when you are a single mother of a young man and you don't have a prominent male figure in their life, because then it's like, okay, you have to find people.
Yeah.
And my challenge as a single mother was, okay, so I need to try to find somebody to be a model for my son, but then I'm not just gonna get anybody super crazy. I don't have to cut nobody.
Right.
I ain't got bail money. What do you mean?
And then there's a drawback of I just want somebody to be a mentor for my son and not try to fuck on me.
Exactly. That and or hurt my child, and I have to be in jail.
Or I want to put my kids and my sons in football so that they can see. That was a struggle for me when my boys were a little bit younger. Trying to put, I wanted to put them in football. And when I put them in football, the coaches with their married asses was trying to like, dog, I'm not here for that.
Right,
Like, I'm
right.
literally here
Trying to get my
for
boys.
my
Mhm.
boys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So then you have that struggle too, where it's like, every single mama ain't out
Looking.
here looking
Right.
for another daddy for they kids.
Exactly.
You know?
Mhm.
And
You
even
know?
if I am looking for a male figure,
Right.
I could have somebody,
Right.
but I'm looking for a male figure for my kids.
Yeah, and for me, I never, it never was, like, in my thought process, it would never was, oh, let me marry somebody so that I can have a male from my kids. Like, it was never a situation like that, because I don't think I thought, and I just didn't think about that. You know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
see, I didn't either. When I had my daughter, her dad chose to be absent.
mhm,
I had my brothers, I had my uncles, I had my grandfather, so until he passed. But I had men in my life that were good fathers to their children who
mhm,
stepped up, because I
mhm.
felt like I had that when I was growing up when my dad wasn't around.
Right.
So I wanted that for her, and it's
Mhm.
like you can only do so much, because
Absolutely.
you got to think about their kids and how their kids are gonna feel about it. And it's
Mhm.
like everybody, like it was family, so it was cool. But
Mhm.
then my daughter started going to school and seeing people, dads come to father-daughter day,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
dances and
Yeah.
donuts with dad. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
where's my dad? Why is my dad not doing this? And I had to tell her, like, you got to talk to your dad,
Right.
because regardless of the situation that me and your dad have,
Mhm.
I'm still your mama.
Right. Right. And
He
I
has to
wanted
decide
to.
if he wants to be your dad, and that's something that I've never kept away from him. So it's like,
Mhm.
these are hard conversations that she's gonna
Mhm.
have to have with him, and now she's 14 and she already know what time it is.
Mhm.
Can't blame you can only blame the baby mamas for so long until the
Right.
kids start saying,
Right.
well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you
Right.
do that?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. And I wanted to, really quick, I wanted to say something in regards to, because you just reminded me. I wanted to say something in regards to, there was a post and it said, um a lot of women say that men, or their dads was their first heartbreak.
Break. I
And
believe it.
I believe it's absolutely true. However, also wanted to say that, um, a lot of mothers are their children's first heartbreak. And I'm not gonna separate it and say boys versus girls, but a lot of mothers are their children's first heartbreak. Um, I think that, and I think that as mothers, as single mothers, we have to be very cognizant of the way that we talk to our children. We have to be very cognizant of the way that we discipline our children, and the way that we handle our children. Because, and just a quick example, with my son, moving from Atlanta, and all of this happened suddenly. So with him moving to Atlanta, um, for staying in Atlanta for a year, and then even before he moved to Atlanta, the other male figure that he had passed away. We met Glenn when Zion was 2. So from 2 to, was 5 years, from 2 to 7, this man was in his life. That's all he knew. So now this man passed away. And even with my other kids, then, but specifically, I'm just example with Zion. He passed away, then his dad, then he moves to Atlanta. Now he's back. So we have to understand, and we have to realize that, um, some of the things that our children are going through, um, we cannot, number one, we are the cause of it. Either it's willingly or unwillingly. Number three, or what number am I on? Number two, we have to understand that this causes our children to be hurt, and it causes our children to react, because they're human. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when my child is acting out, or when he's acting in a way that may not necessarily be Zion, I have to remember, you guess what? He's went through all of
That's traumatic
this,
stuff. Yeah.
and so you need to pull back and you need to watch. Like my mom said last night, I was giving my mom just a little bit of what was going on. And she said, no, she said, now you just got to love him a little bit more. And you just got to love him a little bit differently. And so, that made me open my eyes to a lot of other things, with my other kids. So again, to end the show, because I hear Tone back there. Well,
And to piggyback off what you're saying, that's why I got my daughter in therapy, because there were some things that she needed to probably process that I couldn't help her with. And I also had myself in therapy, because being a single mother is not easy, especially like you said. I shouldn't have to beg and beg and beg, and then you get to a point in your life where you're like, I'm not even gonna say nothing. Like, I'm not telling you about birthdays, Christmases, dances, parent-teacher conference, grades, or behavior, because you're not going to be present. And regardless of our relationship, because I always feel like men and women put themselves before they put their kids.
And the reminders are a stressor. It reminds me that you're not here. It reminds me that you're not doing
and
shit.
I always felt like when I stopped going back and forth, my peace was everything.
Absolutely.
But when I was going back and forth, I felt so
Yep.
stressed. I felt so irritated. And it showed that to my child. And I didn't want her to feel like that every time I talked to him, it was a constant battle.
Yeah.
Because it was. And it was like, when I'm asking a question, I don't get a response. But if I go full-fledged and go in, we can text for hours. And I didn't understand that. And this was years ago. Because my daughter's 14 now. So this was maybe when she was like 7, 8, 9, when she first got a cell phone. And it was like she would text her dad and I would check her phone, because that's what parents do. And it would be 30 texts and calls to him with no response. And I'm like, our phones are literally glued to our hands. You couldn't text her and say, hey, I'm busy, I'm working. And it was like, it was always, I'm working. And I was like, you work so much. What is she reaping from you working so much? She's not reaping the time, the financials, the physical, none of it. So let's not play that game. You treating your child like a side chick. And you were doing it to all of your kids. And now they have such a great relationship. They're like, it's not us. It's him. And they're 13, 14, and 12. 13, 14, and 11.
And then the other thing, I think that, when I see or hear situations like that, and when I look at the outcome of the child, and I look at the mom, and with the outcome, like with your daughter, you can tell that the conversation is not a bashing. You know what I'm saying? I always say, I'm just gonna let them see. I'm just gonna let them see. And then the other thing is that I'm not going to take out my frustrations with their dad
on them.
It's not fair.
Because it's not their fault. The conversation that I had earlier today, I keep saying today, it wasn't today, this week, earlier this week. But the conversation that I had was, well, I'm not gonna call. You want me to call them, and they don't call me.
Who's the parent?
And when I tell y'all, I went from 1 to 100 immediately, because this is and really honestly, this is a whole this is a whole thought process with these men. Some of these men, some of these men, and it's probably the same men that talk about these dates and these $200 dates and shit like that. Because the thing was, they only call me when they want some money. Well, what the fuck else is they supposed to call you for?
You don't pick them up. You don't even
live here.
What else can they do?
My thing is,
you don't call them to check him, say, hey, how's school going? Hey, you got a
How your
girlfriend?
grades?
Hey, are you fucking yet? Are you you're
Can I
playing
come
with
get you? Can I
there's
see you?
like
What-
there's no well,
something.
for
FaceTime
mine,
Hello?
because
mine
FaceTime is always available.
Mine are not here. Their dads are not here. So, but the conversation, they don't call me with nothing but money. But it's like, dude,
What else are you?
how are you? So you want me to call them and they don't call? Absolutely, I do.
You're the parent.
Because even if my kid wakes up in the morning and doesn't speak to me, I still talk to her because we live in the same household,
Exactly.
and that's my child.
Exactly.
And I'm the parent.
But you don't have a choice. But that's the thing though. And what I told him is that I have children that don't like to speak in the morning. Using your example, I have children that don't like hugs and they don't like all of that. But guess what?
I do it anyway.
You don't have a fucking choice.
Exactly.
Because you are my child.
Yeah, you figure out how.
So when it comes down to, if I decide, and this was my issue when my children's fathers moved out of town. The only issue that I had was maintain the relationship.
Right. Because they
maintain the relationship.
These are your kids.
Yeah. And I always used to say, like a dumbass, now I don't think that shit. Give me child support. Because I used to say, oh, I would rather time than money. Here go the clown. No, fuck that. Give me fucking money. Give me fucking money and give your kids their goddamn time. Because guess what? Give them both. Because you know what?
Because that's what you're supposed to do.
Because you know what? And every 3 years, because have you ever thought to think that these past fucking 3 years a bitch been stressed? And for me, I don't immediately just pop off.
Right.
Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like again, I don't argue with my baby daddy. I don't do none of that.
But that conversation, you're calling and telling me that a kid that we share has not called you, but you haven't also called them. But you're the parent. You're not a friend.
Exactly.
You're not a cousin.
Neighbor,
you're the parent.
And
you should be calling daily, weekly, every day, texting, even if they're not responding, because that shows them
and it's
my dad cares.
He cares, and it's building the relationship.
Exactly.
It's built, and like I told him, I said, you cannot think that you're going to have a good conversation with your child if every single time they call you, it's because one of their mothers have called you and said this child is doing something bad. That it doesn't work like that. There's no way that it does not work like that.
And honestly, kids don't take you serious.
Yeah, I remember
when I used to do it, and it's like, my baby wasn't taking him serious because you're a big kid.
Yeah,
you're playing a game and you're acting like you're 14 and she's 14. And so she like, oh, okay, you're not the disciplinary.
Right.
Mama's is a disciplinary.
Absolutely, and it's like, and as mothers, like you said earlier, we have no choice. With my son, just coming back here, abruptly. It was not planned. It was not, for whatever is going on with them, my son had to come back.
Right.
So now what that does for me is that puts me financially, oh shit, you don't know what I'm going through, in the moment. You don't know if now I have to wrap my mind around, again, having a 9-year-old in my house who has gone for, almost 2 years,
right.
But that's my kid.
And I'm going to figure it out.
And I'm going to figure it out.
Come on. Like we always do.
I'm going to figure it out.
What do you mean?
And then the part of me that I still try to remain very even keel, because I don't want to argue with them, because when I get to arguing with them, then
it takes you out of your
because
my biggest thing was like I told you, it's about my peace. Now, like I said, I have a daughter, she has sickle cell, so she's in and out the hospital, first crisis at 9 months. I should not have to beg. I shouldn't have had to beg her father to be present at that moment in the hospital, because I didn't know how to deal with it. So to have somebody there to share that same moment with their child, I shouldn't have had to beg you.
Right.
But my mama came. Right. Her goddad came.
Right.
My grandfathers came. My uncles came. The church came. And and we're there. It has
Mhm.
been there since day one. So for me to argue back and forth with you about what you ain't doing,
Right.
I'm not gonna do it
Right.
because you
Right.
ain't been doing it.
Because what's
So
the
what I'm
point?
gonna
Right.
do is I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna let your
Mhm.
child deal with you. Let her
Mhm.
talk to you.
Mhm.
Let her call you because she's your
Mhm.
kid.
All
You
right.
ain't my daddy.
End of
Yeah,
the day.
and that's the thing is that y'all get to do that. And there's no like there's so much talk about negative talk about baby mamas and single mothers that it sickens me, because there's really no thought about really how strong, and I'm gonna use bitches because that's shit I lit us bitches is strong.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that
Even when you don't want to be.
yes,
Exactly.
Because there's times where I don't want to be the strong
Yes.
friend. I don't want to be a strong mama.
Yes.
I want to sit in my
off.
car and
Yes.
cry
Can I please
Yes.
and
take
get
this
10
cape off?
minutes
Yes.
to myself.
Please.
yes,
And I can't.
And I think that the negative connotation has took over so much of what we do. And I know somebody will be like, oh, well, what about the single daddies? Listen, I saw a single father in action for 5 years, and that was one of the reasons why I absolutely loved him. But we ain't talking
Talk
about
about
y'all
that.
right now.
Right. You're going to have your time.
Right.
Because
You know
it
what
is
I'm
some
saying?
great single fathers.
We'll
It is.
absolutely
I have some
have
men
a
that-
Father's Day show.
Right. I have some men that are great
Mhm.
in our single
Mhm.
fathers, but on another level,
Mhm.
I know more single mothers than I do
Mhm.
single fathers.
Mhm.
And baby mamas, like we said,
Mhm.
we strong. Because
Yep.
we don't have a choice
Yep.
but to be.
We don't.
Right.
There is no
Yeah.
choice.
Because think about
There's
the
no
baby mamas
choice.
who didn't have their mothers when they
Mhm.
had their first child.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how strong you had to
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
because you had to live
Yep.
not only without your mother, but with a kid.
But now with a kid.
And then even just the biology of it, we are
Mhm.
carrying a child.
yes,
We
yes.
have a human
Mhm.
inside of our body that we are bringing through a portal from
Mhm.
another side.
Hmm.
You know,
Mhm.
we are bringing a whole
blew this
soul,
pussy out, okay?
a whole
Blew this motherfucker out.
soul.
Did you hear me? I'm talking about them four little niggas.
Oh,
got
my
big
God.
problems,
Like
okay?
we as women, we
Listen,
bring
I
souls
just had a
here.
baby 7 months ago, so you already know I know.
Come on, we bring souls through this black hole.
Child, listen. It's
It's
so
a dimension.
it's absolutely amazing. And I think being a mother, and I remember one thing that and I will never forget this. And I think that like my grandmother Versi Tenen is literally the my favorite person on earth. Well, she's passed away now, but she was literally my most favorite person on earth besides my mom. And when I first told her that I was pregnant with Beyontrell, what she said to me, she said, I am so happy for you. She said, I knew you couldn't go this long without loving somebody.
Oh,
That's what she said to me.
that's so sweet.
And then when I had my second, she said, Bija, you don't know how to keep your pussy closed?
Oh, I would have been like, Grandma.
I said, well, but then but that was,
That's the
that was
relationship.
our
Our
relationship.
Right.
That was
Right.
our relationship that we had. And me in turn said to her, well, you got 13 kids. You couldn't keep yours either.
All right.
You know? And she said pussy probably 5 times in that whole conversation as we sat there at the table with my cousin Brittany eating Wendy's.
Wow.
But that was the relationship that we had, and
And she had 13 kids, so we know she was strong.
and more. That which I think she some were lost or whatever the case
Right.
may be, but definitely,
Like 13 kids.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking kids.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
'Cause I can't see it
and
for
just
myself
being
at all.
a mother is something that you cannot compare. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, there
I'm
are times
irritated.
where I get irritated.
Mhm.
This
I don't
this
want nobody to
past
talk to me.
yeah, this past 2 weeks, I've cursed at my children. I've yelled at them. I've cried.
They probably
I've
thought you was having a
begged
nervous
and I've
breakdown.
pleaded. Yeah, and I was crying, and then somebody started crying. I said, "Shut the fuck up and
This
stop
This
crying."
is my moment.
This is
I'm crying.
I'm hurting, but
Man.
but then at the end of the day, I was able to, the next day,
Bring it back.
because I couldn't do it in that moment. I
Mhm.
slammed my door and I told them, y'all figure out what the fuck y'all gonna eat for dinner, because I'm not cooking.
Mhm.
And that's some shit when
Look,
I say
come
that.
on with you.
But
It's like,
yeah,
She not
I think they ate
She
oatmeal
not
that night. I don't know what
cooking.
they ate.
on.
Listen, I don't know what they ate. I
Look.
went in my room and I slammed my
Listen.
door.
When you said you didn't
Um,
cook, my heart did something. My
right.
heart did like, wait.
But I was able to the next day.
Come back.
I was able to come back, and number one, I was able to apologize.
Yeah.
I was able to
And
apologize because
That's it.
because I had the realization that I was frustrated.
Yeah.
I was extremely frustrated over a situation that I had no control over and they had no control over. However, there was some validity in my shit, because when I tell you to get your ass up and get to school on time,
We
I
always
mean what the
valid.
fuck
We
I said.
always valid.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
But I was able to
reflect on that.
reflect on that. And I thought on that all night, because I don't, I'm really goofy with my kids, and like I cuss because
we
cuss.
don't like flipping out.
But
Yeah.
right, I don't like cursing at my kids, and I don't like, I
Only
I
when
just
they
don't
get you
like
to that
it.
point. 'Cause
Yeah,
mine
and I
is
was
just
literally to that point. Like I was literally to that point. I was up to
festivity.
yeah, like I wanted to go drive and not come back. But the next day I talked to them and I said to them, listen, we damn near grown. Everybody in here is damn near grown, and so
But
I
we
think
all
that
we got. I always tell my baby before I had my son, like, it's just me and you. It's gonna be some times where we ain't gonna get along. I'm not gonna agree with what you do. I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna cry. But I'm your mama and I love you. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make sure that your life is better than the life that I have.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And I think that that's something that we definitely have to make sure that, as single mothers, yes, we may get frustrated. Yes, we may get sad. We may get, sometimes we may get lonely because we probably don't have nobody rubbing on our booty. And that's okay.
Right.
Not okay for me, but
Mimi said something really important on her status earlier. She was talking about apologizing to your kids.
I was just going to bring that up.
And
that
is so
I feel like it's
important.
accountability.
Absolutely.
And it shows your kids that mom ain't perfect.
Yes.
Mom make mistakes, because I don't want my daughter to walk around and think that I know everything, I got all the answers, because I don't.
Absolutely.
But in the moment, if I feel like I've said something that was out of place, like you said, you had to go back and say, you know what? My frustration, I took it out on her.
Yeah.
And I have to let her know, regardless.
Listen.
I love you.
Yeah.
And it came from a place of love.
You
But at that time, I didn't know how to express that. But also therapy has helped me to do that now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I was yelling.
Do
now
that
it's like,
first,
you know what?
and then
I'm just like,
come back, and
I'm
it's
gonna
like,
go
okay.
admit it for myself.
Yeah.
And just zone out, and then you go ahead and go in your room.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back. And
be
I
in a
even had a
healthy
mom and me
space,
journal,
too.
because I'm like, sometimes you can't tell your parents what you feel and how you feel. And I always wanted to let her know that no matter what, we all we got.
Yeah.
And I know she love her dad. She love her dad. I will never take that from her.
Absolutely.
But as she's getting older and she's becoming into a woman, and she's going to high school, and she's going to be dealing with boys, she's going to see. She's going to get her heart broke, and she's going to know.
Absolutely.
This is the things that you have to. This is life.
Yeah.
And as a baby mama, and a single baby mama at that time. I couldn't show her that.
Yeah.
But that accountability and that being there and letting her know, like, we all we got. We got to be strong for each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes mama ain't going to be strong.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know how to be.
Come on.
But
I ain't did this before. I don't know.
And so to close out the show, I just want to, I thought of like a couple of a list of things that, as single mothers, and we're dealing with our children, that is an absolute essential that we remember, and that we handle and we deal with our children differently. That number one, apologize. That's a huge thing. Number two, do not take your aggressions out on your child or your children. Find other avenues of expressing your frustration. When you see your kid, if you see your child's father, and that gives you some type of aggression, or it makes you upset,
See, I never
you
experienced that.
need to. Me neither.
'Cause I love my
Me neither.
baby,
But
and
I
I wanted
saw
her,
it.
so-
Like, I've seen it so many times, and I don't know if it's the what is it, that the algorithm or whatever, but I've been seeing so many things recently in regards to mothers, and the mothers hurting people, hurting their kids, and things like that. And so, like, that was one that stood out to me, is this guy said that every time my mama saw me, she saw my dad,
Yeah.
and so
I mean,
she
your
would
ki-
beat
your
me,
kids
and
look like
you know what I'm
they
saying.
parent-
So she,
other parent, I
but
get that.
yeah,
I've
with
heard
them
that
being
too.
so bitter and upset, now you want to beat the shit out your kid,
Right.
because
But see, his mama was bitter and upset. I ain't
Exactly.
bitter and
Right,
upset 'cause I
right.
don't care.
But that's what I'm
I
saying.
just want
Like,
you to be
do
the dad.
not, because of whatever happened with their dad, don't
They
take
took
that
it
out on
your
them.
kids. No,
Right.
your
You
kids
know
don't
that
even deserve
exactly.
that.
That's the worst
Take
They
thing.
not
that on
asked
him
to be
because he's
here.
the
Yeah.
problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we should also, whoever you believe in,
Mhm.
I think that it's a value, to start your children off and teaching them to know about God. That's just it. I think that because of the fact
Faith.
that
I was-
when you have to know faith, and I think that everybody should know that there's something that is bigger than them,
Mhm.
because what that does, because I know that there's something bigger than me, that lets me know that there is some type of consequence to any reaction or any action that I do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it gives me something to think about. And then just, raising your children morality, and, and love, and all of that good stuff.
That's one thing
Because
that I always tell my baby.
yeah.
Even if I'm mad at her or I'm disciplining her, I always tell her that I love her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same.
'Cause I do.
Absolutely.
Same.
Yeah. I got one that literally, Brylan, how
That's
is
your
he?
second oldest.
Nope, third.
Third.
He tells me he loves me probably about 50 times a day.
Oh, baby.
Literally, every time he sees me and leaves my presence. Love you, Mom. I love you too, boo. And so I just think that, let's try to change the narrative when they talk about baby mamas.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we have to go out and we have to be like, yeah, my baby mama, my baby mama.
But
But
respect
within
is a lot of
yourself,
disrespect.
within
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
if you feel that is a negative connotation, and if you take that as something as being negative, take that and flip that for yourself,
Right.
not for me, not for Tiffany, not for Jessica, or not for anybody else, but flip that for yourself. Because when you do that, you will start to actually stop giving excuses. I used to give excuses for the amount of kids that I had. Now, oh, you got 4 kids? Yes, I was fucking.
Next question.
I was fucking. Okay. And I was grown, so stop giving excuses for your children. Love these kids because they didn't ask to be here, and lastly, and y'all gonna laugh at me, and some people they probably leave that man alone. If that man don't fucking want to be with you, leave that man alone.
Listen.
Like, and I'm dead.
That's the
ass
bitter
serious.
baby mama. We ain't gonna talk about that because we ain't got.
For real.
We don't know about that.
Yeah,
life.
I don't know about that one. Leave that man alone and worry about your children.
Mhm.
Stop making these statuses talking about your baby daddy this and your baby daddy that. Stop. It's sickening.
Yeah.
It's
this point.
sickening.
And it's
You
getting
know,
off.
like I said, I'm not saying don't love a man, because I be loving him. I do. But if that man has shown you multiple times
That he's not
that
trying
he
to
is
be.
not trying to
Yeah,
be with
nah.
you, you can't have 1,001 kids by somebody and make them want to be with you.
Mhm.
It just doesn't happen. And unfortunately, it is what it is. But stop harassing these men.
And let them
Stop
be
and
fathers.
and let them be fathers. Don't hold your children
Hostage.
from
Oh, God.
hostage from their dads. and I can say this
Because
wholeheartedly.
we all need a break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I got one that I want to wring his fucking neck. But if that man call me and tell me
I'm on my way to pick my kid.
God damn it, get ready.
Where your book bag? Get your socks.
You know what I'm
She's
saying?
at the front door.
Right. So just stop it. Because really,
Don't
honestly,
be bitter.
this
be
is
better.
where right.
Come on,
This
give me
is
some.
where the negative connotation comes from. Change your mindset, ladies. Fuck them. Good night.
Hi.
That's all.
That was beautiful.
I think so.
Right.
That was beautiful.
Mhm, so.
Do these sound effects work?